You are listening to Recovery Queen Melissa Presents Tales from the Trap. I am your host, Melissa McMillan. I am a recovering addict, a human trafficking survivor, and yes, a human trafficking convict. I spent 20 years in active addiction, experiencing things most couldn't imagine. This podcast is where we tell the truth about the streets, about the system, about survival, recovery, trauma, and the people who never made it out. These stories are raw, real, and sometimes they're hard to hear, but you know what? They matter. This is Tales from the Trap. Okay, so I have not done Tales from the Trap since before Christmas. I've been really focusing on working with actual survivors and getting paid to do it. So I haven't been making content for YouTube or anything. I've got the support group. I've got a whole bunch of projects in the works. So I've been a busy girl. But so I'm from Sudbury, right? Sudbury is very Sudbury. There's not a lot of, like, I think more now, but there's not a lot of examples of people who have truly evolved from the trap. I know a few. Let me just say that. But I don't think there are many who like were in it like I was in it. You know what I mean? So anyways, that being said, there's always going to be people in my community who accuse me of lying, because what I've said now with a recovered brain may not have been what Trap Host Mel said back in 2020. And I've always been transparent about Trap Host Mel. Somebody, there's a lot of people in this community that just don't want to see nobody change. Couldn't believe it if it hit them in the motherfucking face. Would not believe it. And I understand that because I was the same way. When I would see someone get out and get better, I would completely bully and disparage and say that they're fucking lying. There's no way they're clean. Till this day, I still do that. I'll be blatantly honest with you. I still have a hard time because I don't trust people. And because I live in Sudbury. And when people say they're in recovery in Sudbury, it means they only smoke crack on weekends. I've said that so many times because it's such fact. But there are people, for whatever reason, because they think they knew Trap Host Mel, that they know who I am today. And that girl is like, I stand for what she stood for, when it couldn't be further from the fucking truth. And if you can watch me and know who I was back then and watch me today and deny the transformation, I can guarantee you bought soda recently, because you can't deny it. I would love for somebody to tell me what is the same about Trap House Smell and about who the fuck I am today, besides my temper. That's the only thing. You know, like yesterday, there's a lot of people that just don't vibe with me. They don't like me. They didn't like Trap House Smell. They don't believe that this is legitimate. They think this is a cover. They think all of this is like I've still got my toe in that world. You know, people legitimately believe that I am still involved in something. And awesome. I got charged under the Human Trafficking Act of Canada. I I would have a hard time believing a girl who got charged with human trafficking changed her life too. Cuz I was a sick girl for a really really long time and I hated to see people thrive. I didn't believe in change. I did not believe in change. And I see instances of authentic change every day today in people, including myself. That being said, there are some people who don't like me, bitch. They don't fucking like me. They don't vibe with me. They think I'm a liar. They think I'm a bully. They think, what else did she call me? A murderer. That's one thing. Like, I understand human trafficker. That's kind of my story. You know, human trafficking survivor. I was charged under the Human Trafficking Act. That's kind of my story. And I'll always be that. I'll always be that. I use it to my advantage today because I use it to raise awareness against human trafficking. And I'm okay with that because I use it and I control the narrative. I control the truth, right? My truth, at least. And for people who weren't there, they sure as fuck seem to know a lot. Sorry, I'm going on tangents here, but today I was accused of being involved in my friend's murder, and not just one. I was told that I am involved and linked to more than one murder and missing women's cases in my community. That the common denominator is me. Did not see murderer on my bingo card for 2026. I did not. Human trafficker, perfect. All about it. Murderer, crazy, crazy take. So there's a lot of people who have a lot of things to say because I wouldn't want to see me do what I'm doing either. Especially if you didn't like me in the streets. Why the fuck would you want to see me do well out like in the real world? You didn't like me when we were scum. You haven't changed much. But, I wouldn't want to see me do well either. And usually because with my evolved trauma informed brain, I just have empathy for these people because I see so much of Trap House Mel in these girls that like you fucking hate yourself so much. You will do whatever it takes to hurt other women to make yourself feel better. Like this one girl literally like invited me to Montreal to go to a concert, and yet today she called me a fucking joke, called my daughter a drug addict, doxed where I live. I tell everybody where I live. I could give two fucks, bro. But yeah, that it's a crazy transformation, but still watches all my content daily. It's big fan energy, literally big fan energy. And because I don't want to fuck with them on a friend basis, because the people I have in my life fill my cup. We don't spend hours upon hours talking, just degrading women on the internet. Like, that's just not what we're about. We have jobs, we have families, we have interests, we have hobbies, we have passions. So we don't come online and spend hours upon hours upon hours bullying and disparaging other women to make ourselves feel better. And if that's your vibe, that's not who I want to have in my orbit, right? So I've had to tell girls who I know from active addiction who think because they were friends with Trapo Smell, they're going to be friends with Melissa, and I have to block them because they're not well. So yeah, sorry, I've had to block them. And they don't let up. multiple messages over the years, sometimes begging for forgiveness. And, it, sometimes I cave when they're begging me for my forgiveness and telling me I'm inspirational. I'm an empath. I'm a Libra. If I loved you once, I'll love you forever. So, yeah, I talk to them again. Big mistake. And that's when you figure out if people have done the work. Because if you still have active addiction behaviors, I don't care if you're clean, you're just a dry addict because you haven't done the work. I could not imagine going online and calling another woman a fucking joke, talking about her child like all over Facebook today. These girls, same girls that have been doing this for 5 years, wild, wild, wild. But, anyways, because of this, and they watch all my content too. So, but they don't even know the streets, because the things that they're saying is like, they're saying that I work with certain pimps in the community, and like, you're naming people that were my ops. You didn't even pick the right human trafficker to add to the narrative. You couldn't have picked my baby dad or the other 5 pimps that I used to fuck with. You're telling me I'm working with my actual op now? That's the narrative you're going with? It's crazy. So, that being said, this whole episode is going to be addressing some ridiculous shit that people in my hometown are dying to ask. Like, is this really just a cover up? Is this really just new branding? Or is this legitimate? And I'm not here to convince you that I'm not a crack smoking sex worker anymore, or that I don't have money in the streets, or that I'm not running whatever the fuck human trafficking rings out of my pimp dungeon. If you think these things, you need a straitjacket, though. Because how can you say you knew me out there and see who I am today and still believe that we are the same human being? It's because you're the same human being. That's the issue we're having. Because you can't recognize legitimate, authentic change in you. You make the same decisions over and over and over and over and over and expect a different result. Right? I play the tape to the whole ass end before I even make a choice. That's how self-aware I am today. So, I know a lot of people in my community fucking don't like me. They're all scumbags, but I used to be a scumbag, right? And there's scumbags who are absolutely loud. So I had like literally 100 people, like my sister-in-law, a whole whack of people, like my ex-sister-in-law, messaging me going, who the fuck are these people saying these fucking weird shit about you being a fucking murderer and shit on Facebook? And I'm like, I had to call my boss and be like, yo, bro. And because my boss works in the community, she knew who these people were. And we're like, don't you worry, Pook Dukes. Because people who know me today, because there are people who know me today that work with me today who didn't know me out there. Right? So there's people I don't even have to convince because they see it with their own eyes. Not a shred of active addiction behavior in my personality besides my temper, and I'm working on that. But that's what got me in this mess. For 5 years, I've been getting messages. And you can call me a liar. I'm not delusional. I've talked to my friends about it. For 5 years, I've been getting messages from the same people asking me to be friends, go for coffee, collab. Please don't be mad at me. I forgive you. You're so inspiring. And because I don't make choices that I think are going to affect my life in a negative fashion, I usually just block them. Because I keep getting banned on TikTok, right? So I have to make a new account, and then all my block list is gone. So people think that I'm like cool with them again. And like, it's not that I'm not cool with you. I just don't want you the fuck around me or in my comment section, or we're not friends. I don't want to be friends with you. My people today are not the same kinds of people, right? We have goals and ambitions. We don't live in our parents' basements, which is fine. The economy sucks, but I'm just saying, I don't associate myself with people who don't fill my cup mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So if I block you, it's not because I hate you. It's not because I wish you ill. It is because the type of person you are is not the type of person I am today, because I worked really hard to not be that type of person anymore. And if you are mad because the work is hard. The work is hard. Trust me, the work is hard. And I didn't want to do it either. But you being out here like a changed person and you haven't done the work, you're telling on yourself by the way you're acting online. Literally though. Anyways, I'm on a big tangent because of all this fucking weird shit. I killed my friend, a whole bunch of weird shit. I was like, somebody tell me when I did all these things, and should I turn myself in? Like, because of all this, I was talking to my girlfriend. I'm like, I want to do a podcast episode. I need a bunch of fucking questions. And she's like, I'll get you a list of questions. And I'm like, and like, be like, ask them legit. Don't fucking beat around the bush. And I looked at these questions and I was like, oh, fuck. These are some good fucking questions. So we're just going to get into it. Okay, so the first question: people still think you're running things or running something behind the scenes. Is that true? No. No. I never ran anything behind the scenes. I wasn't a queen pin. I was a crackhead and a sex worker. I didn't sell drugs because I would do them all. I owe everybody and their dog money in the streets when I was in the streets. Nobody would no, I never ran anything at all. I sold my coochie. That was what I ran. So for people to think that I'm in any way connected to the game, to the trap, to sex work, to anything, no. Literally fucking no. You don't think I would have been outed by now? I share my children with people who watch me like a hawk. I have shared like custody of I co-parent. Do you not think people would have figured the fuck out by now? Do you know how much money I have in my bank account? Not what a pimp should have. Probably got less than $300 left to last me until Thursday or whenever the fuck I get paid again. I wish. No, I'm a single mom, and I have no money. So if I was still in the game, like where's the money? I live in a trap house. I live in subsidized fucking housing, like low income housing. I don't have name brand. I buy my clothes from Temu. Like, why do you think for any reason? And then I think, do these people think that I'm like helping people because I'm still using? But like, if you think I'm still using, you need a straitjacket. Because if you knew active addiction, trap house Mel, how can you say it's the same fucking person? There would be no way I'd be able to get away with using drugs ever. Ever. So no, I'm not involved in anything having to like make money in the game. I wasn't involved in making money in the game when I was in the game. The game was robbing people and selling my coochie. I wasn't like a mastermind kingpin here. That's just not the role I played. People are giving me far too much credit. And is it because who the father of one of my kids is? Like, He's not a mastermind either. He did 7 years in the pen for some stupid shit. No. So let's go on to the next question. No, I don't have. What a stupid question, but these are questions that people want to know. Hold on. Okay. Is the whole recovery queen just a cover? A cover for what exactly? I think people literally think that I am like a madam or something, and that I like groom women into the sex industry. I have not been in the sex industry since 2021, April of 2021. I know one sex worker that I know for sure that she admits that she's a sex worker. I have an inkling about a bunch of other females, but I don't like, and I'm not trying to be disparaging, but that's not my life anymore, bro. I'm a mom of two little girls, a 11 and 12-year-old little girl and a 19-year-old fucking young adult who live in the same home as me. I wouldn't get away with any of this if it were true. You see how much TikToks I make. You see all the content I make. You see all the support groups and speaking engagements and awards and being on the news. Do you think I'd be able to do all of that and still be a queen pin on the DL? That's ridiculous to even assume for 1 millisecond. Okay, so the next one is, are you actually sober? Or are you just better at hiding it? I don't really use the term sober because I'm in recovery, and recovery is more than just substance abuse, sorry. I'm so tired. I haven't slept in like over 24 hours. It's been a couple days. I'm probably going to have to go to sleep and finish this tomorrow, but no. No, I practice harm reduction, so I smoke weed. Um I If I ever did my drugs of choice again, I would be back on Kathleen within a couple days. 110%. If I ever consumed my drugs of choice ever again, there will be signs. I definitely wouldn't be here doing a podcast with my children, because my children are the first thing that I get to. I don't do no. I will be asking for babysitters. I will be bugging for money. I will be selling my shit online. And I would not be sitting here writing spoken words for TikTok and YouTube. And that's what I mean when I say, if you think these things are remotely true. And I know this is fucked up, because I know one of these girls actually really likes me and cares for me. And it's because she doesn't think I feel the same, even though I do. I just know she's not well, and I wish she would get well and make better choices, because I would love to be her friend one day again. But she makes poor choices, that I can't do it. I just can't. And I'm allowed to have boundaries regardless if I love you or not, regardless of my love for you. I'm allowed to have boundaries. That does not mean you in turn go on the internet and call me a fucking joke, talk shit about my children. And this is the part that fucks me up. It's like, you watch all my content. You know everything that is going on in my life. You know in your fucking heart of hearts that everything I'm saying is genuine. I know how many times you called me inspiring. I know your mom thinks I'm inspiring, your sister too. You all watch all my shit. So why do you keep going on the internet and telling people that you hate me and that I'm a joke and this and that and the other? You would rather be mean and callous and disparaging to women than be vulnerable. That's the problem with a lot of women. They would rather be mean and cruel and malicious rather than to swallow their fucking pride. You know? Like, just because I can't be friends with you does not give you, like, and I know how you feel, and you can lie about it all you want, but I know how you feel. I know if I messaged you tomorrow and asked for you to for us to chat, and you would be in like a fucking dirty shirt because I know you care about me. I know you do. I care about you too. I don't like the choices you make in your life. That's why I don't want to be in it. Doesn't give you the right to say mean things about me on the internet, though. That's, and okay, sorry, I keep going on tangents. Knowing that you care about me, knowing that you see my recovery journey as inspiring, can't admit it because you don't like to be vulnerable and you'd rather pretend to hate me. You know I'm in recovery. You know that. You know in your heart and your soul that I am in recovery because you knew me out there because we were friends. And you did a lot for me out there when I was pregnant with my second daughter and I was homeless. You did a lot for me and we were friends. And I don't even remember why we even stopped talking. I remember why we stopped talking a couple months ago, you know, but back in the day when we were both sick, you couldn't even name why we stopped talking. And all of a sudden I was your biggest fucking op in the world, you know? So why are you out here pretending that I'm in what? What am I in? Name what I'm in. Y'all don't even know the streets enough. You're telling me in your make-believe fairy tale that I'm working with my ops. Doug Bright is my fucking op. In that world, when we were fucking with each other, we didn't like each other. You guys can't even pick the right fucking human traffickers to put in my story. You know, my baby dad is a human trafficker, convicted and all. You couldn't have used him. You didn't think that would have fucking made the story make more sense? No, you got to use my fucking. But I hate Doug Bright. And yeah, I'm putting this on YouTube. I don't give a fuck. What's he gonna do? He's sitting at home with an ankle monitor. The fuck? Anyways, crazy work. Next question. Is your platform just another hustle? Crazy question. My girlfriend done fucking chat GBT'd me some good ones. Is my platform just another hustle? No, I have imposter syndrome. I don't even understand why people give a fuck about the shit that I talk about and the videos that I make. I don't see myself as inspiring. I call myself a crackhead with a phone sometimes because I feel like a fucking imposter. Like you have no clue who the fuck I used to be and I'm not that great. None of this is a hustle. I can't even believe the feedback that I've gotten, the messages from all over the world, the people telling me every single fucking day, people going into my friends' work on a regular basis, women in the community going into my friends' work all the fucking time, different women, and saying, I see you're friends with that girl, Melissa. I fucking love her. So you can pretend you hate me all you fucking want, but there's a lot of people who don't. And I know that fucking pisses you off. That's the whole point of this, right? So, no, it's not a fucking hustle. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You know what a hustle of mine is? Cleaning fucking shitty toilets for rich people. That's my side hustle. Not coming online and making fucking TikToks and content for YouTube that only 200 people watch. Okay, so this is night 2 of questions for Tales from the Trap. It's been another day. So I've been dealing with a client who is elderly, who is deteriorating in health, whose family, she's about to be unhoused, whose family needs me to go out there with them and find her. And that's what we've been doing for days upon days upon days. Um, so that's what I did all day today, but still people making posts and saying things and fighting with my 19-year-old daughter in the comment section. 40-year-old women are fighting with my 19-year-old daughter, trying to convince her and everybody else that's in that comment section. The vast majority of people I don't know. And if I do know them, it's because I used drugs with them. Right. So, if you are on the internet and you're saying things about other people, you best be fucking perfect, because this lunatic who was selling me Oxycontin at 16 years old when I was living in her house. I was actually living, so I was living next door to her at that age. I think by 20, I was living in her house and renting a room off her, but she had been selling me Oxycontin for years, her prescription of Oxycontin. She now thinks she's an outreach worker, and she was actually at an event not long ago in the community, and where she was on video getting up and yelling and screaming her head off like she just walked off range, like she just walked out of jail, like crazy. They put something on the screen at this event that she did not want to see, and she got up, started yelling and swearing and yelling at members of the audience, and made a whole ass scene like a crazy person. Okay. And this woman, who was my drug dealer, who sold me her prescription of Oxycontin, I actually bought drugs off her for years. She has the fucking audacity to be in the comments calling me unwell and saying I need help. Pookie, I know you've done a lot of therapy. I know, because I know you do a lot of program in the community. I think you're broke beyond repair because you're not well. You're not well. So it was really funny, because my daughter is sending me everything. So she made this comment that I'm not well, and somebody actually sent a video of her yelling and screaming at that event. Sent it and said, Isn't this you? And you're saying Mel needs help. Everybody in this comment section better be fucking perfect. And that's how I feel. And it's not what these scumbags are saying about me. It's everybody else in the community who loves me, feeling like they need to defend me, and people that I want to work with in the community, like other agencies, running into this ridiculousness. So, what do you do? What do you do when someone is on the internet telling everybody? And let me just say, I got messages from all over the country because she put my name, full name, in it. Everybody that is friends with me or who knows me or we have mutuals saw this post from all over the country, because this girl has a large following. Everybody saw it. So what do you do when a girl who is still obviously not well publicly accuses you of using your advocacy work and mentorship and peer support as a ruse to traffic young girls into human trafficking? And that you're working with not only dirty cops of the greater Sudbury police, you're not only working with the cops, you are also working with notorious human traffickers. And that she implicates me in the suspicious death of Stephanie Cummings. You might recognize that name because I've actually told Steph's story on my podcast more than once. So that's crazy. Imagine a murderer winning the Jamie West Good Neighbor Award. Like, everybody that's seen these posts has been convinced that I need to get help from the justice system, in terms of a peace bond, restraining order kind of thing. So I just spent all fucking evening filling out an application to get a peace bond, because there's a straitjacket needed, and I've been advised by my advisors that I need to get a fucking restraining order. So that being said, I'm going to keep going with these questions. Okay, so are you scared that people are just waiting for you to mess up so they can say I told you so? Um yeah. Yeah, like my haters. Nobody wants to see a bitch thrive. If you didn't like me in the streets, you probably don't like me today. But that's not true because I've had so many lifelong fucking ops reach out to me over the last 5 years who I am now friends with today. One of my lifelong ops, all of fucking high school. Okay. I won't go into specifics, but we didn't exactly like each other and it got real for a minute. Okay. She actually reached out to me, told me how proud she was of me, apologized to me, and then sent me shit for me and my kids on Amazon. So, not everybody who didn't like me in the streets hates me today, but the ones who do hate me, there's a reason. It may be because they used to sell me Oxycontin. If I smoked crack with you, I don't give a fuck what you have to say about me, Pooks. I really fucking don't. I don't, because we're talking about bottom of the barrel Sudbury. So this girl is saying one night I called her from this notorious human trafficker's house. And I know exactly what she's talking about because I was a sick girl and I would literally hang out with anybody and buy dope off anybody in order to get high. That does not mean that I was a mastermind and I'm working a fucking human trafficking ring because I went to a drug dealer's house and bought drugs and called you from there. She said I was bragging about my charges. Yeah, I was bragging about being arrested for human trafficking. I may have told you I just got out of jail because I got caught up in some shit. I don't think that constitutes bragging, bitch. What are you even talking about? So everybody that's looked at this, all of this stuff online, just keeps saying like it's a jealousy thing. Like they think I'm making money by making videos. Do you need to go back to school? Because in our country, you don't make money off social media unless you're showing your coochie. Oh, is that sensitive? Yeah, I see the link in your bio. So I don't do OF. I don't do any kind of sex work because you know why? I'm a human trafficking survivor who worked the fucking stroll and I have trauma for days. So if you can still do sex work, it's a form of self harm. I hope you know that. You'll get it one day when you're healed. But anyways, yeah. So no, I know people are waiting for me to fuck up. And guess what? Hold your breath, bitch. Hold your fucking breath. Because the only thing that I may fuck up is reacting. That's the only thing I can see me doing is reacting. I should not have reacted. But when you message me and ask me to be on my podcast, and I wouldn't be in the same room with you if you paid me, now all of a sudden I'm a murderer and a human trafficker. So it's just crazy. It's just wild. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, is there anything that could pull you back into that world? Yes. Yes. A man. Y'all know me. That's why I'm single. Because the wrong man can fuck me up. The wrong man can fuck me up. Me and the wrong man could ruin everything that I've worked for. So that's why I would never get in a relationship with anybody who has any kind of drug issues, like recovering addict, unless you've got like a decade on me and you like work in addictions or something and like there's like a really low possibility of any kind of weird shit, then possibly, but not till my babies are grown and out the house because I ain't bringing no man around my kids. That's the difference between me and you, Pooks. I don't allow men to do fucked up shit around my babies. Not anymore. I'm healed. I got better. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to keep going with these questions. The next one is, if you are still out of the game, why do so many people pop up around you? Well, usually people don't get clean at home. I got sober in the same city that I was sick in. So people always pop up around me. It does not mean I engage in any way whatsoever. Also, there's been statements that I am a bully. So, and that I pick and choose who I will peer support and mentor. That is true. Because if you fucked my man when we were friends, I have a conflict of interest with you and I can't work with you and help you along in your recovery journey. Conflict of interest. If you called child protection on me in the past, conflict of interest. If you inserted yourself in one of my court cases and became a witness and we had a no contact order, we're like conflict of interest. If you called me a human trafficker publicly, conflict of interest. There are just some people in the community that I won't be able to work with. That's not me picking and choosing. That's me covering my fucking ass. The bully thing, if I've asked you millions of times over and over and over and over to stop messaging me from different accounts, I don't want fuck all to do with you. If I tell you that over and over and over and you don't listen, I may lose my shit. I may lose my fucking shit and send you a very assertive message telling you to go fuck yourself. That not exactly me being a bully. Anger issues? Yeah. Do you realize who I have living in my fucking brain? Need I say more? Trabo Smell is in here. She doesn't drive the bus, but she's fucking in here. So let's go on to the next one. Okay, so when people say once a trafficker, always a trafficker, I was not a trafficker in the fucking first place. Being charged and having to take a plea for fear of penitentiary time does not mean I was guilty of said crime. I admit that I exploited a addict's addiction, just like many people exploited mine. I brought a woman into sex work because she wanted to buy drugs. Literally. Get paid to tell this story. I could tell it in my sleep. Go watch every single time I've ever told the story and tell me anything that's ever changed one fucking time, because it hasn't, because it's the fucking truth. Someone accused me of forcing them to do sex work. I've told the same story over and over and over again. Why were most of the charges dropped? Because they never would have brought it, they never would have been able to bring it to trial. But I was terrified at the time. And now, with a fully recovered, healed brain that has done extensive years of therapy and is more versed in everything having to do with the justice system and women who are, statistically get caught up in exploitation, and sex workers who exploit other, like, I am far more educated on this whole entire thing than I was when I got arrested for it. And if I would have known then what I know now, I would have fought it. But at the time, you have to understand, I was barely even a year sober. I had gotten my fucking children back in my life. I was in the midst of family court trying to get access to my youngest daughter. And I was trying to stay the fuck out of prison. So I took a fucking deal when I shouldn't have. I know now, with my trauma informed brain, I know now, because I was trained in peer support and human trafficking. I understand what consent and safety is and what consent and survival is and the difference between those. So I understand logically, with my recovered brain, what I did was exploitation. I know that. Doesn't mean I'm a trafficker. No. My baby dad is a trafficker, and that's why he got 7 years in the penitentiary. I got 9 months house arrest. Guess what? Not a trafficker. So once a trafficker, always a trafficker. How about get the full fucking story? I'm going to speak at the end of the month in fucking Shigang. Come and hear me talk. Let me explain to you why the fuck I'm not a monster. And if you still think I am at the end of the fucking hour, I could care fucking less. Okay, so one of the questions is, if you've really changed, why do people hate you? People hate me because they hate themselves. Everybody that I've talked to that have seen this crazy circus online has looked at the content being made, looked at the posts that are being made, and came back to me with, they are so fucking jealous. I would be jealous of me too. If I was sick, if I was still drowning in domestic violence, if I was concerned that my baby dad was going to come home from jail and beat the shit out of me in front of my children again, if I was having delusions and accusing innocent people of gang stalking me all over the internet. And I was still using drugs, if I was still in sex work, like many people who hate me are, I would hate me too, because I hated anybody. When I was sick in my disease, if you showed me an ounce that you loved yourself, you're a fucking goof. I don't like you. You're a clown ass bitch. You know why? Because I hated who I was. So if you had confidence, if you liked who you were, if you changed, if you found recovery, I would disparage your recovery, say you were fucking lying, call you a bum ass bitch, and just be a total fucking bully goof. And that's why I think a lot of these girls think that I am still that way, because Trap House Mel was that way. But if I get messages from someone, so I've said this story before, but you continuously send me messages asking for my forgiveness. And I say, you know what? Water under the bridge. You've apologized. You seem like you really need some fucking help here. I'll help you. And then not even a month later, I get a message from someone saying you're telling people I'm a fucking human trafficker. That's your one chance. That's the one chance you blew. Now I'm a joke. I'm a joke because you talk so much toxic shit online and get caught. I got a screenshot sent to me of you saying something about me after you begged for my forgiveness. So I'm confused. And the mental illness that is very visibly, blatantly obvious, and this whole thing makes me understand I've always made the right choices when it came to these people. I'm happy I said no to you. I didn't even say no. I just blocked you because you're fucking delusional. Like, bro, let's move on to the next question. Do you feel like you'll ever be trusted? If you don't trust me, you shouldn't be around me. I hope nobody that doesn't trust me is around me. I'm trusted by so many fucking people. And if you don't, that's not a me issue. That's a you issue. I do not give a fuck what you think of me. What pisses me off is other people in the fucking community thinking what you're saying is true and thinking that they can't reach out to me for help because you're slandering my fucking name. You're hurting people by doing that. Do you know that I get hundreds and hundreds of messages a month from people asking for help, and then they see you do this online and they're like, ooh, maybe it's not a good idea. Yeah, that's what happens. Um, it's this is the reason why I'm getting a peace bond. So I'm applying for a peace bond because it's beyond just like cattiness. You're doxing my address, you're calling me a murderer, you're literally making delusions up in your brain. Like, it's very sad, and I couldn't imagine your poor parents being in their 70s and still having to deal with this. Okay, so this is going to be the last question. So this is, if you're being honest, why are people saying you're lying? First of all, I would love to hear specific things that I am lying about. I'll wait. People saying I'm lying when they weren't even in the same fucking universe as I was, you were not there ever. Because I knew you back 20 fucking years ago when I was a child in my early 20s, because you seen me while I was sick and deep in my active addiction, because you yourself were a drug addict and sex worker. Just because you seen me, heard things, you were never around. We never hung out. We were never friends. How dare you say I'm lying about anything? What am I lying about? Please go on your anonymous accounts, or don't. I don't give a fuck. Go on in the comment section and give me a list of things I'm lying about so I can respond accordingly. You say I brag about being a human trafficker, me telling my story to raise awareness against human trafficking, to prevent. I work in human trafficking prevention. So, because it is statistically common for women who were in the sex industry, as long as you and I were, you're still in it, but because I don't do any online like sex work. I don't have an OnlyFans. I don't allow men to pay for my photos. I don't jerk myself off and sell videos of it online. Like, I am not a sex worker. So for a active sex worker to ever tell me, and I'm not into the whole sex work is work, sex work is self-harm, okay? It should not be no woman should be in that industry. It's not empowering. You are degrading yourself to the lowest form. Anybody, I will be honest, and you can fucking all come for me. If you are a sex worker, you need help. You are not well. You need serious advocacy, and you will not understand it until you're out. So I've been out of it for 5 years. With my healed, trauma informed brain, I understand the scope and the magnitude of how much it is self harm. Because I have had actual sex workers that are still in the industry today call me crying and say the same thing. And unless you're out, you will have no fucking clue what you're talking about. So for anybody who is sick enough mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that they would make pornographic videos and sell them online, like, do you, Pookie? If I wasn't healed, I may still be in it. It's really easy. Someone yesterday sent me a message asking if they could buy one of my photos. I blocked them because that would be the day that I would ever degrade myself again. That would be the day that I would sell my body again. And I think anybody that's in that industry would be having a lot of fucking nerve to judge me. Right? Right. As somebody who, um, yeah, I don't believe anybody who, cause like, and I don't want to disparage on women that are sex workers, but I don't think anybody who is a sex worker is mentally and emotionally inept, and they do need to do a lot of fucking work. I don't agree with it whatsoever. I don't vibe with letting men buy sex from women. Like, I'm just not there anymore, you know? We'll move on from that though. So why do people think I'm lying? I don't know. Jealousy, envy. You can't figure out how I'm doing what I'm doing, so you're creating conspiracy theories to solve the mystery. My mom and dad are very well off, eh? Like, my mom and dad are very well off. So I'll never struggle. And I have no issues admitting that. Like, that is the truth. I I will always have help. And if you don't have that, that's unfortunate, but I do. That does not mean I'm a human trafficker. You know? Right. You could call any anti-human trafficking agency in the community and ask them who I am, and they will tell you. You can call the Greater Sudbury Police and ask them who I am, and they will tell you. Do I have to be in the news some more? Do I? Do I need to win some more awards? I was just honored, right, with an award from our MPP for all the work I'm not doing in the community. Like, you're crazy, bro. It's just crazy. So we are working on getting a peace bond, because it's beyond, like, when you're doxing my address, it's a little much. So we're going to move on to the last question. Okay, so why do you talk about the street so much if you're not there anymore? That's my brand. That the podcast is called Tales from the Trap. I'm not going to sit here and talk about doing arts and crafts. That's my brand. We're talking about real and raw and authentic things on my podcast. We talk about real and raw and genuine and honest and authentic things on my TikTok, on my Facebook, on my social media. I am what you see is what you get. There is not a question I would never answer. I would love to get an honest and genuine list of questions from all these people who have all these things to say, but never to me. Never to me. Y'all see me out in the community and don't say boo, you know? So please, all the anonymous burner accounts that are watching, please send me a list of questions of all the things that I'm lying about in the comment section so I can address them because I would love to. But, anyways, with that being said, this is probably an hour. With that being said, the next episode we are going to talk about pregnancy while addicted. So I had a list of questions sent into the podcast from a woman who is very interested in my input on my experience being on the streets while pregnant and while actively using drugs, because I used my entire pregnancy for all of my pregnancies. Um, not like my first, second, and third was very manageable. It was opiates. It wasn't like I was on methadone and I was using painkillers. It was nothing like there was no street drugs. It was prescription painkillers. I'm not justifying by any means, but I'm the experience that I had with my girls was not the experience that I had with my final pregnancy and my son. So when I had my son, I had used crack cocaine, fentanyl, IV cocaine, and anything I could get my hands on while actively doing sex work in the streets. So my experience with my three daughters when I was housed and well, and I was still an addict, but I'm not going to deny that, but I was addicted to prescription painkillers and not street drugs. So it was a vastly different experience. So I've got a list of questions for the next episode. I'm going to do it really, really soon. So there's going to be a quick follow up episode, maybe even two within the week. Tonight we are having our Wednesday, January 14th. You know what? It's going to be past, but every Wednesday at 7:30 over Zoom, we have this support group, very laid back, very non-structured for survivors, domestic violence, addiction, or human trafficking. If you're a loved one of an addict, if you're an alcoholic, if you just want to sit and shoot the shit, you are all welcome. Just type in the codes and the password and you can join us every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern time over Zoom. Chi McWitch. Love you, everyone. So you don't hate me because you think I'm lying. You hate me because you know I'm not. Because I walked away from a life you needed me to stay trapped in so you could always point at me and say, see, that's who she really is. You needed me sick. You needed me broken, still crawling back to the same places so your reflection didn't look so fucking ugly. Because if I can love myself after everything, after the streets and the charges and the men and the shame that you keep stapling to my name, then what the fuck is your excuse for still hating who you are? That's the part you can't stand. You didn't want me healed, and you didn't want me here. You wanted access, though. For what? Leverage? You wanted to feel superior standing next to someone you could always say was worse. So when I left the trap, when you heard I left the trap, you didn't clap. But when you saw me like this, you fucking panicked. And then you started telling stories. You accuse me of still being involved in that life because the idea that I'm free makes you feel exposed because you're not. You accuse me of lying because the truth makes your fucked up bitterness really loud. You accuse me of manipulation because you can't stand a woman who will never, ever need your fucking approval. You don't want my recovery to be fake because you care about honesty. You want it to be fake because if it's real, your weird, fucked up obsession and the cruelty has no justification. You stay obsessed with my past because you have nothing new to say about your present, or I don't even think your future either at this point. You stayed mad because I didn't beg to be forgiven, because I forgave myself. And that's what really pisses you off, that I love myself, even knowing every ugly fucking chapter. And I didn't need to erase them to move forward. So you don't get to rewrite my story just because mine didn't end the way you wanted it to. So I left for real. And I healed for real. And you stayed mad, staring into a mirror that you fucking refuse to clean. Okay, so this episode of Tales from the Trap was created over the course of 5 whole days. 5 whole days of being called Jeffrey Epstein. 5 whole days of being accused of using my platform as a ruse to traffic women into sex work. 5 days of Buffalo Bill wanting to wear my fucking skin. 5 days of letters from Stan. 5 fucking days of Stan not only plastering my face all over social media, but my family as well. 5 days of 5 days of Stan boosting all of my analytics. So, I don't know if I owe Stan a thank you or not, but my pages have not had this much traction in quite some time. So, the last 5 days, Stan has been, accusing me of not having credentials. If you live in your parents' basement, if you're actively still using drugs, if you're actively still involved in sex work, if you're actively parading your delusions around social media, I don't think anybody that is in any position to question the credentials of anyone else. So, I do have credentials. I've spent the last 9 months building my credentials because it's very easy to do. So if you work for any agency, nonprofit, they will train you. Very simple concept. Very simple concept. So I was very fortunate that lots of people see a lot of potential in my work and what I have tried to create over the last 5 years. So that this is also up for debate. 5 years, not even, I've been in recovery. So this whole, I'm saying I'm over 10 years sober. No, 10 years ago, I was on the stroll doing sex work. Almost 5 years. This April, I will be 5 years in recovery. That is it. That is it. Also, not sober. Never once said I was. Sometimes I use the term sober so everybody can understand, but I'm not sober. I practice harm reduction and I am in recovery. I don't know how many times we've had to talk about this. Considering someone seems to have so much to say, you would think that they would do their fucking homework. I'm in recovery. I'm in recovery from substance abuse. I'm in recovery from the streets. I'm in recovery from surrounding myself with people like that, like mentally ill, unstable, with active addiction behaviors integrated into their personality so much that they would have to do years of extensive therapy in order to come back from it. I'm in recovery from being around people like that. I'm in recovery from child protection. Usually, people who haven't lost their kids, like if you've lost your children, you should not be pointing at other people and talking about things like that. It's like glass house, throw stones kind of thing. So somebody who is unemployed, living in their parents' basement, talking about my hardships is funny. Also, for people to be so fucking loud about how they have so much concern about the community, you're disrupting it though. You're literally taking services from people, from women that you say you give a fuck about so much, right? Because I will never allow anyone to jeopardize the safety of my clients. So when I know I have a stage 5 clinger, stalker, Stan, Buffalo Bill person wanting to wear my skin, I shut her down, because that'll be the day that one of my clients gets a message from a lunatic trying to create a narrative that they may be in jeopardy. That is what you're doing. So this is day 5. We are going to finish this episode now because the police are involved now. You would think somebody who is already on probation for criminal harassment, that they wouldn't continue to criminally harass people. But because these mentally ill, drug addicted human beings, and when I say drug addicted, I mean drug addicted. They've gotten information on me, but I've also gotten some information on them. So, haven't done drugs. My drugs of choice in 5 years. Right. So yeah, when 5 days of this, 5 fucking days of this. So cops are involved now because it's gotten to the point where literally people in the community are calling the police. Like when the police got here, people in the community were calling, so terrified that something was going to happen to me because of the stage 5 clinger Stan behavior that was happening for 5 fucking days. Also, the amount of men that I received messages from saying that, so and so accused them of a whole slew of things. My DMs have not been more full with other victims of this person. Telling somebody, and like even the cops said this. So the cops at the end said, this person just really, really wants to be you, wants to be your friend, and is adamant that when I calm down, I should reach out to them so we could be on this journey together. And she can be on my podcast. Like literally all this is about. But when someone reaches out to you and says, hey, can I come on your podcast to publicly slander the Sudbury police? I'm a little leery. I'm a little like, no, we don't do defamation of character on my platform. I know you're about it. Literally you're about it because you were like telling people the craziest fucking shit. Not about it. I don't slander people's names on anything. Like even if you're my enemy. Also, I'm a bully and I pick and choose who I help. Well, if you reach out to me in active addiction and you're a person who called child protection you've called child protection on me in the past. You've also slept with my boyfriend. You've also inserted yourself into court cases and became a witness, and I had a no contact order with you. Those are conflicts of interest. And if I've asked you numerous times to stop messaging me and you don't, I may get a little angry and bully you and put your fucking shit on blast and say, hey, anybody talk to this person? Can you let her know I'm not interested? No, that is a boundary, bitch. That's not being a bully. That's being fucking assertive. Because how many times are you going to message me and me block your account before you get the fucking hint? That to me is not bullying. That's having boundaries with mentally unstable people. Right? So, anyways, this crazy person decided that she's not going to post about me anymore because she's made her point. She made no point. Like, nobody in the community gives a fuck, and half the people in her comment section have no teeth, so I'm good. You know what I mean? But it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride. I never thought that I would understand how Eminem felt. Literally. The tears don't call, I wonder why. I got all your posters and your pictures, man. You know, we could have been together. Think about it. You ruined it, Slim. Literally, with the bitch wants to wear my fucking skin. This is done. This is an over an hour episode. What a wild ride. Stay tuned for the next one where we talk about using while pregnant. Love y'all. Chimigwit. At this point, I just want to I want to add something before I end this episode. At this point, I think I may call this episode 5 whole days because just like all my fans got so much information on me from the community, I too was able to get some information, and I've received a couple messages tonight kind of filling me in on why this may have lasted 5 whole days. So apparently, instead of calling my friend Stan, we should be calling them Methany. And that's why it lasted 5 whole days. If you're getting what I'm putting down, makes perfect sense. And with that, I'll end this. Till next time.